as we reflect today on the story of the talents, a story Jesus told about the kingdom of God, of a landowner who entrusted a good deal of money to some of his servants as he went away on a journey and came back to see how they used those funds. As we make this reflection today, I think it's a beautiful opportunity for us to talk about stewardship as we begin Mary, Mother of the Church Parish. And before you turn off the video, it's not about fundraising, it's about stewardship. You know, sometimes in evangelical circles, there's a sense of a tithe, a percentage that God would want us to give to church. And stewardship oftentimes evolves around that. And I don't think that's well founded in Christianity. There are some Old Testament references to a tithe. Abraham, who gave 10% of his goods to the priest Melchizedek when he blessed them. But Jesus has a very different take on our responsibility for the gifts entrusted by God. Not only does he say that the woman who actually gave with love, who gave generously, is the one who gave everything, her last 2 coins. But it's not just that. Whenever Jesus talks about our responsibility, he's talking globally about our whole responsibility, not just some portion of it, right? He always takes basically an older, hard concept, like a tithe. Like, it's relatively hard to get a check for 10% of what we own voluntarily to help the poor or to help our parish or to help the ministries of the church, right? That's relatively hard. Jesus goes and takes it to a whole nother level. And he says, you know what? Like, forget the 10%. Let's look at the other 90. Let's look at the whole 100%. Like, I entrusted you with everything. What are you doing with it? What are you accomplishing with the gifts that I've entrusted to you for a time? You know I'm coming back, and this is the last week before the end of the year. We're going to hear a lot in the next few weeks about him coming back. You know I'm coming back to see how you did, right? So like, what am I doing with how responsible am I with the trust that God has placed in me? And to understand that well, we look at our whole lives and we look at how we use the resources, the time, the talents, the money in our lives, and see if we opened up our credit card bill or our checkbook at the end of the month and looked through it in prayer, is it something that we could share happily with God? Would he be happy with the responsibility that we're taking over that portion of the goods of this world that is placed in our care? I'm grateful that you stuck with me this long in my reflection and haven't been scared away by the fact that it kind of touches on stewardship and giving, because I think Jesus really meant for it to be a lot more. A lot of the times when we talk about stewardship, we think about gifts like money or time or our talents, the use of our abilities, and that's okay, but it doesn't really fit with the priority that Jesus brought to everything in the gospel. God's greatest gift to us, what God pours out into our lap before he goes on the journey, what God has entrusted us with more than anything, is his love. What Jesus did when he came, more than anything, was bring a concrete expression of the Father's love and give it to me and to you. And if we think about how the Master treats the question of the use of these gifts, if we think about them in terms of love, like, what dies and goes away when you bury it in the ground? Not gold or silver, it'll still be there when you get back. Love dies when you bury it in the ground, when you're too scared to share it, to receive it, to live it. And we're invited, I think, in this parable, above all, whenever we talk about the kingdom, we're invited to live more completely, more concretely, God's love, to share it more fully, to receive it with greater gratitude, to let it transform our lives more completely, and having been transformed, to share it with others. And love, when it's received and shared, grows exponentially, right? The stock market does okay, but love, when we give it and receive it, it grows exponentially. And if we could find a way, maybe this is more important. What am I saying? This is absolutely more important than any conversation about our use of our money, or certainly more important than parish giving, is our love. Our actions will follow our loves. But we're invited today, I think, to receive from the Master the love that he gives, and let that grow by using it, by investing it, by sharing it, by being brave with our love, so that once it's grown, doubled, and grown tenfold, that the Master on his return will find our hearts larger and more full of love, will find our world more healed and more full of his love.